Hey folks, welcome back to our Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Flamecraft. Flamecraft is brought to you by Cardboard Alchemy. It's for 2 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, and games run about 60 minutes. Artisan Dragons, the smaller and magically talented version of their larger and destructive cousins, are sought by shopkeepers, so they may delight customers with their Flamecraft. You are a Flamekeeper, skilled in the art of conversing with dragons, placing them in their ideal home and using enchantments to entice them to produce wondrous things. These dragons are specialized in several ways, specializing in bread, meat, iron, crystal, plant, and potions. You, the Flamekeepers, know which shops are the best home for each. So your goal as a Flamekeeper is to gather items, place dragons, cast enchantments to enhance the shops, and in the end, gain the most reputation. So your reputation will grow as you aid the dragons and shopkeepers, and the Flamekeeper with the most reputation at the end will be known as the Master of Flamecraft. Welcome to town. Now, middle of town, you'll see this is the score track where you're moving up in reputation. Now, around the town, and there's a whole series of cards around the town. In the park, we have our Artisan Dragons. You'll see in the middle here, we've got Fancy Dragons, and around the board, we have shops, and in the middle here, we have enchantments. So let's jump in and take a look at these Fancy Dragons. These are like hidden objectives for the players, trying to fulfill by game's end and score points. However, there are ways to score points with these cards sooner. Some shops may allow you to activate them. Also, these are your Artisan Dragons. These are the dragons you're going to be using as your bread and butter throughout the game. You're going to be playing them on shops. Shops do require certain types. You might play a bread dragon when it calls for it, or you might play a potion dragon. But all these dragons are clearly defined with an icon in the top corner and where you might play them, and their abilities are at the bottom. And what's interesting about the dragons and how you play them on shops is that you can see quickly how you can start to chain and do combos with these dragons as you play them and activate their abilities. So then we take a look at the shops. The shops are the way to get resources. You're going to need resources throughout the game. You might go and get meat or bread, things like that, and move your dragon there and then activate the shop. So we'll take a look at what you're doing on your turn in a minute, but these cards you can clearly see at the bottom is where you're going to be playing your Artisan Dragons. And as more cards are there, you get more resources when you show up at these places or these shops. And then finally, we have enchantments. This is another way to get reputation points in the game. And what you're doing here is you're obviously looking at these enchantment cards and you're trying to fulfill them by having the right number of resources and so forth. Getting those cards and completing them and moving up along the track. All right, so let's jump in and see what we're doing on our turn. So as you move around town and activate shops and gather resources and do enchantments, you'll see the gameplay is very straightforward here. However, there's a lot of intricacies about how you put combos together and activate shops and do certain things to get the max amount of points and resources. So on your turn, the first thing you're doing is moving your dragon to a new location or a new shop, or it just can't be the same shop that you currently are in. So any shop that's available, you can move there. And if there's any other dragons present, then you have to pay. You have to give each of those dragons that happen to be at that shop already resources, or give each player resources that happen to be at that shop. And then you have a couple choices here. You can gather or you can do enchantments. So gathering is a lot of what you're going to be doing to get the resources in order to do enchantments. So when you show up at that shop, you're going to gather resources. You get whatever resources at the top of the shop card, and whatever dragons are in play, their resources on their card you'll gather as well, giving you tons of possibilities, especially if it's a full house that is covering the slots at the bottom of that shop. All kinds of possibilities and how you might activate them and so forth. So grab those resources. That's the main thing you're doing first. And then you have some choices to be made. If there's slots available, then you could potentially play one of your Artisan Dragons. And you have to be mindful about what is at the bottom. It could be a requirement of a bread dragon, a plant, potion, so forth. So be mindful of the symbols at the bottom. Some have wilds, so you have a lot of different choices there. But you're going to be getting bonuses. You'll get reputation, or you'll get a new fancy dragon, or you'll get coin. So based on playing those cards will net those bonuses for you. And then you have a choice to fire the dragon. Now, it doesn't have to be the dragon that you put into play. Any of the dragons that are at the shop, you can choose to fire off. And this is a lot of where the combos come into play. These dragons are going to do so many different things, allowing you to swap with a different dragon or go out to the park and gather dragons to your hand, things like that, all kinds of different possibilities. But it might just give you different bonus points for reputation or different resources or multiple resources, all kinds of options, how you play these. And that's where things get really interesting because potentially you could end up playing multiple dragon cards as you combo them off of each other. And then if the shop has a special ability, you can activate it if you meet the requirements. Now, not all the shops have special abilities. These starter shops are really just about getting resources, but as you fill up a slots on a shop and all 3 are filled, then a new one comes into play. And so every game, you're gonna have different shops in play, which is really fun. And you'll turn this over and then it's active through the rest of the game. And if you meet the requirements of that shop, you can activate their ability. So in the case of the Gnome Depot, you're gonna be trading resources for reputation, giving you 6 reputation. This is really fantastic. But the thing is that all these shops do very different things. Some may allow you, like I said, to activate a fancy dragon and gain points that way. So the shops become very powerful as you move past these starters. Or maybe you've chosen to enchant on your turn. Now, you can't do gather and enchant, just to be clear. You have to choose one or the other on your turn. So you still have to move your dragon to a new location. And the reason you might move to a certain shop over another is because looking at the different enchantment cards that are in play, you have to match the symbol from the shop to the enchantment. And you have to have the resources in hand in order to activate that card. So you're obviously trying to get the bonus points or reputation points in the bottom left corner of the enchantment card, but it's going to do a couple other neat things. You'll show up, you'll say I'm enchanting, and you're going to grab one of those cards that match the shop and pay the resources. Then you gather the bonus points moving up on the reputation track, and then that card, that enchantment card, is going to tuck at the top underneath the shop, giving it more resources when folks show up. But the third thing you're doing is that you're going to fire off every dragon that's in play on that particular shop. So it's super powerful to use enchantment, but you do spend resources instead of gather them. Now, gameplay is going to go this way round after round until either you run out of artisan dragons or enchantments. And that will trigger the last round of the game, and whoever has the most reputation will be the ultimate flamecrafter of the land. Alright folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form. So keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, the thing about this is that it's a family-friendly, family weight type game that really is kind of deceptively simple in gameplay, but again, one of those games that is very intricate in how you put card combos together. Some really fun, explosive combos that can happen as you gather resources and so forth. Now, there are limits to how many resources and how many artisan dragons you can have at hand. So you gotta be mindful, always making interesting choices throughout. But folks, ultimately, if this looks like something that would be of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it from me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.